All right, welcome to Heavy Lifts. We're here with Cecilia Ritter, who is the owner of the Wild Pear downtown here in Salem. And we're super excited to have you on the show because of your amazing personality. Like every time I get to see you, it's like good energy and you're always fun and always giving good perspectives, I think, on business downtown because this is what we're here for, what we're talking about. Before we could jump in, we've got a cool background today. We've got the escalator, right behind us.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys. I admire you both and, for what you guys are doing. You're innovators and you're investors in Salem building community. And so from one, business owner and would like to think of myself as a community builder as well over the years. Thank you for what you're doing. And thanks for inviting me to have this conversation with you guys today.
We're super inspired that you are here and just want to just jump in on your background and how long you've been in Salem and kind of get to that point in time where it's like how you got into the restaurant industry, which AJ is finding recently that it is an industry that has a lot of work to do, right? And can set a lot of things on fire.
I should probably say thank you, or I should, probably take issue with you because I think part of my experience with Wild Pear and some of the concepts you've been involved with has given us the desire and maybe the misplaced confidence to go down that journey. And we're learning, but no, thank you.
I think what you've done I've been to Clink already and I'm leaving here to go there again because it's just fantastic. The food is delicious. Your ambiance, the atmosphere that you've created is uh, obviously so unique to Salem. And the service you've got dialed in. So I'm excited for you guys.
Hmm.
So anyway, I'm here for you
Yes.
I'm here for you as a colleague, happy to help with
Yes,
any little gems, take it for what it's worth to help you if I can, because your success is my success.
thank you. That's team success, and I
It is,
I might even
exactly.
step in. Sorry, Nat, because we have a lot to learn, and I really want to get to the backstory. And I think that's part of what this is to help with a human element. Some of
Mhm.
the businesses that have been around or that are taking chances right now. But the podcast Heavy Lifts. I look at this from a teamwork perspective, and I know that Nat, you joined a team at the Portland Timbers, right? That had come into a league, and you tried to take them from a certain level, to eventually a championship in 15. And I think our goal is how do we take Team Salem, and what is that lift going to look like to elevate, to level up, to achieve what we found at Wild Pear that brought us downtown to Wild Pear. That I don't know if you know this, but one of the most integral people in my real estate business, Janelle Roden, I believe, has a background and experience, and I think Wild
Mm.
Pear
Oh,
was an
she
early
does.
part of her
Mm.
experience here in Salem that both kept her here and built her relationships. And so, the older we get,
Wow.
and the longer I'm in
Yeah.
this community, the more I realize how we're all
Connected.
connected.
Yeah.
And but I
Yeah.
think we'll go back to that, that
Sure.
that this is a lift that no single entrepreneur can do on their own, that no single, real estate owner or
Yeah.
city council person can do on their own, that we have to do it as a team. And I'm just
Absolutely.
curious, how did you like, what is that story that got you into Wild Pear, which I think was your starts in
Yeah.
your own venture?
I love how AJ has taken my question and already turned it around and made his own question out of it. So you have a choice now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can either
Yes.
answer my background question or you can answer his. He jumps forward many chapters. We can work backwards for it. The way AJ's brain works, I know is not linear like mine. So you can go here and here, but you go ahead and make your own decision.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of morph like I think what you both were asking me. So
Okay.
I'm just going to start with then Wild Pear,
All right.
which was the basis for what myself and my sister, husband, brother kind of been able to create in Salem in the restaurant scene. And so Wild Pear originated from a dream that Jessica and I had as teenagers. We would venture up to Portland and as teenagers, very already interested in like the food scene. And coming from a background, I should actually kind of rewind a little bit from our mother. Our parents were always the party throwers. And we had family that were down south from Eugene up to Portland, Seattle. And they would all come to Salem to our house in this 2,400 square foot craftsman cottage. And we were always serving like 30 to 40 people at the holidays. Um, and beyond even holidays. So, and our mother was an amazing, we say chef because her culinary skills, which we later came to find out as Jessica had gone to culinary school and then just our times in kitchens, learning and seeing from other chefs, our mom already knew them. And, she was self taught from Vietnam and just from always starting from like farm to table. We had our garden in our backyard, and mom was always growing like interesting herbs and vegetables in like for the Vietnamese cuisine that at the time, especially growing up here in Salem, when we got here in the 70s, throughout the 80s, even in 90s, it was not common to find the ingredients that my mom needed. And so
Just go to the grocery store and see.
no,
Yes.
no, no, we didn't have that, and so she was very creative and just did it herself, grew it and then, would harvest it, and then, we were her prep cooks. So, she taught us, like, how to, clean everything and then how you trim, how you chop, and, just all the stages of your mise en place and creating that before then, like, the magic happens, and then just watching her in the kitchen, it was just so fascinating, how the rhythm that she created. Jessica and I were so inspired by that, and then the production, her food, we had no idea when we were growing up until, like, later in life, just how fortunate we were, what a fantastic, cook she was, and so that was our first inspiration. And so, we when once we got our license and the liberty that came from being able to go out and explore on our own, we would drive up to Portland and we would seek out restaurants and delis and different cuisine that our mom didn't know and, didn't cook. And that really inspired it all. And they had a small business, our parents did, in building materials, remodeling, like what is it in Portland? Hippo something, Hippo Hardware. I don't know if you
Yeah. Yep.
remember. It was where you would go and get like, old vintage doorknobs and things. And so my dad had that as part of his business as well. It's where you went in Salem to get that. And all of us kids worked the business. So we had this background in knowing what we needed to do. All the everybody's, cog in the whole machine to make it work, and it included us kids. And so, we said to each other as teenagers, like, we getting ready to graduate, "Let's go into food industry and let's work for ourselves. Like, let's do a business." So we developed a plan, and it took us from about 18 to 25, 24, 25. And Wild Pear was born out of that. So we worked in restaurants, we got jobs throughout high school, early college years. Jessica went to Boston University. She was taught by Julia Child, Jacques Pepin
Wow.
were some of her instructors. I had moved back home. I actually dropped out of college to manage a restaurant, working full time. I paid for Jessica's schooling at BU. And so that was what we did, the foundation for establishing Wild Pear. And when she came back from Boston, we thought, okay, first let's go up to Portland because it was the big city and I needed to get out of Salem. She'd already been up in Boston, and let's do something up there. And we started looking around and, met with realtors and looked at spaces. And I remember one conversation back to Salem on the drive from I-5. And I said to her, what makes you and I think that we could actually make it in Portland if when where nobody knows us, if we can't, do it in our own like, backyard essentially, like where everybody knows us here. Like this is our hometown. Maybe we should just start here first. And that was, yeah, I think that the conversation that turned the that for us, and realizing that we needed to start at home and invest here because there was hardly anything in Salem when we started in 2000 when we opened Wild Pear.
Wow.
And
Has it been that long?
it's been that long.
Holy
This is our
moly.
25th year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so where did so as I understand it, you had a mom who was really good cooking,
Yeah.
and you had a sister who was into cooking as well. And you were kind of the sous chefs growing up. And so you learned a lot from your mom. And then how how did the wild pear like the story like the name and kind of like menu. How did that all kind of come about? Because I know watching AJ so far, it's like there's just so many things that are
This is a great question. I'm intent now.
Okay,
So I'm
okay.
curious, like, how did it kind of come about?
Yeah, so the name first of all came from our brother Mike, who is now currently the owner of Ritter's, and that came from a drive back from Portland doing one of our R&D trips. Mike was a driver. He was really interested in what we were doing, and this is before Wild Pear had started. We were in the stages of planning it, and as we were coming back from Portland talking about our name, we knew we always wanted the pear because it symbolized fruit, and then PAIR, the two of us. So there was that double entendre. So we were trying to come up with an adjective to describe us, the two of us. And we started getting a little bit salacious in some of these adjectives because I was like, well,
You didn't have ChatGPT at this point.
no, exactly. We had none of that. It was just, you could say, fortunately or unfortunately, it was left to our own devices. And so that being, like I said, a little salacious, and we were getting a little carried away with some of our adjectives. And my brother Mike just threw out, "You guys are such a wild pair." And when growing up, we were always referred to, my mom would always say, "You guys are so wild, the two of you. You're so wild." And like it never like dawned on us to, use that adjective until my brother kind of like, yeah, very succinctly brought it all together. And silence in the car. He said that, and he's driving, I'm in the front seat, Jessica's in the back, and I look back at her. She looks at me, our eyes go big, and we were like, "Mike, you just named our business. Thank you." He nailed it.
Incredible.
And the concept of food was wanting to call upon um, kind of our varied background of ethnicities, because we're Vietnamese, but also have a lot of European, Mediterranean influences. And then from Jessica's experience cooking in Boston and the things that we enjoyed when we would seek out food up in Portland, and thought, let's kind of create this like Northwest kind of bistro fare, but that has some international influences because of our varied background. So, which is why, you're going to get the wild pear salad that, has the blue cheese and pears because the pear is the state fruit. And we make our pear vinaigrette, but then at the same time, you're also going to get our pho because this is the food that we grew up on, and so you get a nod to the Vietnamese.
And then what a great mixture of items on the menu. I've been to your restaurant many times since I've been doing business in Salem, and it's fantastic. I feel like it's always slammed, but I'm curious, like when you opened, did you open to like the fanfare? Did you guys, how was your marketing? Like, did everybody like come see you right away, or did it take some time to kind of get rolling?
Um, yeah, it took a little time. So, marketing was very different then. We didn't have social media like there is now. So, we really relied on printed, which was like the Statesman Journal doing a story on us. And, we had built a lot of organic support by letting family and friends know. And, that's where it was really to our advantage because we were from Salem, and we come from a large family, and just from the varied schools that we had gone to, we have a lot of contacts and community here. And so once we just got the word out and it started traveling, we had a decent showing when we first opened, but it was nothing, where like we had lines out the door and we were full every single day, really, until the newspaper article came out, and Tom Forstrom, who used to be the food writer for the Statesman Journal, did a feature on us. And I want to say it was probably about 2 weeks into us like opening. And then once that hit the paper, yeah, then actually the droves started coming. And we went from having one employee and our brothers who would work their day jobs and come every night after work. They would come. The rule was you feed us and then we're yours until closing. And they literally would wash our dishes, do anything that we needed until we closed. And they did that 5 nights a week after their 9 to 5.
Wow.
Like, yeah, that's kind of the support that the family that we come from, and our parents also were there and helping us. So after the 2 weeks, though, we realized we needed to hire maybe 2 or 3 more employees because Jess and I were wearing all the hats from cooking and waiting on everybody, serving everybody. I did bookkeeping for the first 5 years. My parents had taught me how to do the bookkeeping of their business when I was in junior high through high school. I did it for them. So, and I originally was the first pastry chef of the Wild Pear, so yeah, I did all the hats. And then eventually, as we grew, we were able to expand the team. And yeah, I've never had to wear all those hats again, thank God. And the public is like much better for it, I will tell you that.
The name of our podcast, Heavy Lifts, like we talk about like how there's so many different things you can choose to do right in life, and the heavy lifts, right? You're wearing multiple hats. You're trying to do the property management, the construction, or the leasing, the accounting at one point in time. That's where you kind of start. You have to kind of learn it anyways, but it makes you such a better business person for it. And it's like I feel like I'm super grateful for like that experience, but I don't want to go back, right? I'm kind of ready to like move forward, right?
I love that team story of them coming in, you feed them a good meal, them, whoever they are, your family, your team, and just putting in the extra, rolling the sleeves up effort to get your start going. I mean, that's what's needed. Like all these things require a team. I have a question for you now, Nat.
Okay.
Just throw it the back.
Right.
What was your first experience that you remember at Wild Pear?
Well, I'm going to go back to probably 2016,
Okay.
2017-ish, when I came down here and I started doing business. I came in and it was one of those cold, like rainy Pacific Northwest days, right? It's probably like February, March, right? And I remember walking in and think I need something warm. I love pho. So it was like, I'm going to go in. I'm just going to myself some pho. I remember just sitting down um, at a table, and it was kind of a lighter day for lunch. And a big steaming pile of pho comes out after I ordered it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it was so good. And it was like, it hit the spot. But like what I remember more was like your staff, and then getting to know you, yourself and Jessica and Mike, and just being like, this is such an amazing family. And like, we talk about building community all the time. We were just talking about before we came on, like, now that just makes it even more special when you know the owners, right? And you love the owners. You're like, I want to go back, like, and for having a family owned business, like, it just makes it so much more fun, right? I'm waiting for Duke and Ryder to get the call.
Oh, well, hey, no, my turn, my turn.
Yeah.
I have a very specific experience, and in fact, I'm from Montana. I do not come from a land of foodie. When I went to college, food was sustenance for a large part of my life.
Oh, sure.
And I believe that Wild Pear specifically, your butternut squash soup in the fall, and I think it was like 2006. And I remember it. And there was like, and I had to come back like 6 or 7 more times. And I was like, whoa, this is what seasonal foodie, like I was, you were part of that gateway that probably took me to wine, right? I got to go from Coors
Yeah.
Light, and all that other stuff to wine and more elevated things. But, right.
Wow.
But I do believe that, yeah, Wild Pear back in 05, oh
Yeah.
six in your butternut squash soup was like the moment where I was like, okay,
Mm.
there can be seasonal fare. It doesn't have to be overly fancy. It can still blow your mind,
Yeah.
and it can still be approachable. And at that time, I was a college kid, so my budget wasn't big. So you were still approachable to me. And I think that inspiration is something that, as we look around Salem as part of like our vision, upstairs, is how do we bring how do we follow in your footsteps and bring some elevated but yet approachable but seasonal foodie quality fare to Salem, and then that same family atmosphere. So just thank you. Just know that I do in part blame you for any of that inspiration.
Well,
Alcoholic.
No. Yeah.
right. Love knowing that I was the gateway to
Yeah.
these vices of yours. Well, thank you for, for saying that. And I think, you've struck the chord at the right time because the palette in Salem has grown considerably and it has become much more sophisticated. And we have such an influx of people that are moving here and investing in Salem and are, wanting more choices. And you are bringing an elevated dining experience with your French bistro, and which is one of my absolute favorite cuisines of all. And I remember running into you both actually at Uncorked, having two separate conversations with you guys. But with you and Sheena, just saying, like, I need a place. Like, I love my restaurant, but I work there, and I don't really enjoy going out in the dining room and sitting in the dining room with friends or somebody when they want to come, visit with me, because it's my place of work and I'm constantly looking at everybody's dining experience. How can I enjoy like mine when I'm so focused on everybody around me? So really, it's a disservice to whoever my guest is when I stay there. And so I was wanting a place to go to. So I, was thanking you and Sheena and offering unsolicited advice. I'm sure you're like, let us open the doors first.
Oh,
But that being said,
yeah.
again, because I do truly believe in, that your success is my success, and I'm here for you guys. So
Thank you.
Can I ask a question based off of that? I'm so interested. If you were to just somebody coming out of culinary arts school, or somebody who's coming into like this business and wanting to do what both of you, right, have done, which is open a restaurant. You're more nascent, of course, but you've been doing it a lot longer. I'm curious of both of you. Like, what is the one thing you would tell that person? Whether it's a warning or whether it's inspiration. Like, what would you say this, very green, very new person would never come into this industry?
okay, so fresh out of culinary school,
Fresh,
though.
yeah, just fresh, yeah.
Okay, fresh out of culinary school, I would say that you need to put your head down and keep your ears open. Work hard and listen to the people around you that have had the practical experience, that have been in the trenches. Um, they will teach you the real life application. So instead of being more focused on theory and what either numbers say or formulas say, what you've been taught in school, um, open your ears to the actual application and people that are, proven success. That they're gonna bring you along. If you do that, then you will be brought along, and you will go further, and you will get there faster. So
Oh, I don't think I'm qualified to answer this, but I would say I did just go through this process of like asking myself, right, and then asking a lot of people. The number one item was be careful, don't do it, right? And I now understand what that meant. What I would have said in my shoes to myself, trying to convey the same message, was it's more than you think. It's a lot.
always, yeah, yeah.
I knew it was going to be a lot. I thought I knew what a lot was. I now know that a lot is more than what I thought.
Yeah.
But I would say in the coming out of culinary school is one item. There's the entrepreneurial dreamer that's like knows they're going to go start their own thing. Do what you did,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do what Archive did. I'm very impressed with those boys too.
Mm-hmm.
Like just in your early 20s, who cares? You just take the shekels you've saved and you take a big risk, right? And um, but the step I took was, I thought opening a restaurant. What are the key components? And so we went to a bunch of advisors, and they said the key components are, in their opinion, atmosphere, service, and flavor. And they said if you can hit 2 out of 3, you're probably going to be a successful restaurant. Not very many people anywhere hit 3 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, let's just hit 3 out of 3, but I didn't realize what that meant.
Was there like a rating? Was like atmosphere's got to be 1, flavor's got to be 2, or was it just like get to it?
Well, it was just if you don't hit 2, you're gonna fail. And they just said, so you can have a great atmosphere and mediocre food, but if you have great service, you're gonna succeed. And they gave me some examples. And they said you can have great food and a great atmosphere and miserable service, and surprisingly, people will still come back. And they said most common, you'll have great food and great service in a mediocre space, and those spaces make it all the time. You'll put up with mediocre, right? And then what Sheena built upstairs, it's almost magical, right? It feels
Yeah.
like it's not. It feels like Vegas to me, or a different area. But So we said, let's go hit all three. And what I'm learning in this is that um, that when you're investing in a concept that is that special, it requires so many more
Mhm.
humans. It requires so much more attention to
Mhm.
detail. It requires so much more care. And so to hit all three levels, part of me is like, oh, I don't want to sacrifice service, but now we went and found flavor, and I don't want to sacrifice flavor.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, but what I've learned is there's a couple more variables, and I think we're working through them pretty swiftly right now. We're still not even ready for a grand opening yet. This isn't about me, but we just wanted to get our menus figured out by September. But in this, it's I think our struggle, and this is maybe a question for you openly, right? And I'll cry on your shoulder later. We've seen it, right? We'll buy you dinner. But it's in that training of Salem, we knew because I go to Cozy all the time, I go to Ritter's all the time, like I go to Wild Pear not as much as I should, right? But I don't eat lunch, and that you were my lunch spot. And I already 3 or 4 weeks in, I'm not trying to go to my place. I'm trying to get out of my place, but I'm trying to create what does our
Mm.
place look like. And that training Salem to be a foodie, I've learned that escargot and caviar, and even just the way we deliver plates, their palates are ready, but the way that people order in Napa Valley is
Mm.
different than the way that
Mhm.
people order in Salem.
Yeah.
And then part of it is how much credence do you give your first 3 weeks of patrons? They why aren't you more like Rudy's, right? Is
Yeah.
what they're saying. They're not saying it, right? Why can't we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
the plates like this? Why are all your menu items French? I love that, right? And I'm a people pleaser. So in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
scenario, we're trying to balance, Sheena and I. So here's my question for you. How do you balance the reviews and the opinions that you're trying to serve with
Mhm.
the don't lose your identity?
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say you really have to take those reviews with a grain of salt. So I read through our reviews very thoroughly and basically try to capture the tone of where this person is coming from. And if the tone is one of just being a complainer to complain, being, you know, petty, not being fair in an assessment of their dining experience, then it's just immediately dismissed.
Flush.
So that's noise. So that's the thing. It takes time to drown out what is noise and what is truly constructive criticism. And one way to also do that is by your advisory,
Mm,
like by who you surround yourself with. Having people that are trusted, that have been proven successes,
hmm
in this industry, um, around you, as well as talented people within your team that you are sharing with, you have discourse on a regular basis
hmm
to see, are we getting off course from what we intended, and it's important to be able to be flexible, to make some adjustments to survive.
hmm
Okay. So I think that you can't really, don't like die on that cross of that everything has to be exactly as we wanted it to be from the moment we opened. And we are very true to being a French bistro and not going to deviate in any form or fashion. I think that um, your base is going to dictate to you and tell you whether they are totally in supportive or in love with that. And if they're not, if you want to survive, you need to be flexible. So you can still do that and make slight adjustments and still keep your identity, your brand strong. Um, maybe you can adjust a few things on the menu to be a little more crowd pleasing
hmm
when you get requests. If you keep hearing the same request over and over, just be flexible and listening to that, but also know where uh, somewhat, like I said, discerning where the noise is coming from,
hmm
and that takes time, unfortunately.
hmm
And but also, again, by having that advisory around you, that'll help you to also drown out that noise,
hmm
and trust your gut. trust what, in your heart, the passion, what brought you to this in the first place. And once you start to deviate off course from that and are losing joy in what your purpose is, then you've gone too far.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here to support Sheena, but yes, trusting kind of our vision and more learning what that vision is where we're at. We're trying to find our footing. And I think you hit it on the nose with patience. Like one of the toughest parts is like, give it enough time that you don't tinker things daily.
Right.
There still has to be enough stability in the menu for the service staff, in the menu for the people coming in, but enough flexibility in ears being open to create that teamwork that, and that's part of like, there's another piece to, when it comes to culture that because I focus on, I was a team captain. That's what brought me here. Willamette University. It's the only reason I'm here from Montana. A couple of years, I know. Yes, they were desperate. They were desperate. Yeah. Uh, but when you're trying to build a culture, right? There's also that balance between this is my ship and then empowering others. And I think the culture Sheena and I want to build is one not of a helicopter parent, right? One of like, you can grow and buy the business from us. Like we're not this was never meant to be our 30 to 40-year life plan. We're trying to make Salem better and bring something that we want to go to. And I think Sheena might want to hold on for a lot longer. I'm like, babe, sell it so that we can go enjoy dinner all the time, right? We're not. But that, how do we build that culture where your servers want to listen and they're not afraid to bring something back to the owner or the chef, but yet the chef or the owner are not offended, saying this is who we are, stick to your guns. And this whole restaurant industry is fascinating to me because everyone's an expert on their own
Yes.
palate,
Yep.
and they all know how to improve your business.
Yep.
And even my best of friends that think they're constructive in their comments, it's hard for me to peel out and say, whoa, I wish I could retain what you just told me right now, but like the
Yeah.
mountains I'm fighting are actual mountains, not
Yeah.
changing a little bit of honey or salt on top of something that's in the back of the kitchen.
Right. Yes. Like in good intentions,
Yes.
but that running a restaurant is a whole other beast, unlike any other type of business. And it is so multi-layered, and it is so important, integral to building that culture that you talked about, because it is that culture that you're building that starts within the team first, right? And that is going to transcend then out to the customers and to the community and get them to buy in. But it starts with your base of your team first. And listening to them, like empowering them, is so important, of giving them a say. But at the end of the day, you have to remember, like, you're the captain, right? You're the team leader. And so they're going to come to you with all of these ideas. And a lot of times you get opinions, but they're there, they play a role and have a great purpose for for what they do and provide to the team, but they don't understand how to put all of the pieces together, and that is your job. So you take what you can and apply in the moment that is relevant, but your job is to never take your eye off of the whole big picture. Like, they're micro focused, you're macro focused.
So two things I want to say before we shift here. The first is you're both in these public facing professions. So the people's opinion publicly matter, right? Business. It's similar to what I went through as a professional athlete. You have all of this time preparing for a game, right? You're coming in Monday, you're getting your ankles taped, you're stretching, you're getting all the preparations for tactics, right? And kind of in your mind, you're grinding Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's like, here is final game plan. This is how we win. You're staying late. You're getting massage. You're getting ice. Doing all these things. Preparing for the game. Then the game comes on Saturday, right? And you have done everything possibly to succeed, right? And then one thing goes wrong, right? And you get absolutely rinsed for it, right? Like the center back was like, you slipped and fell and struck him in the score, right? And so what I admire about both of you is that your willingness to put yourself out there in front of the community, right? And with the possibility of getting run over by the bus, right? Getting the critics coming and saying something. When I read these things online, Google reviews, I always take it with a grain of salt, just like you do. But the first thing I do, I take it a step further. I actually see what this person has said to other people,
Oh,
right?
great.
Before
Yeah,
I even
exactly. Yeah.
before I even like take anything that
I've done that as well too. I've looked up their other reviews to see
yes,
like what is
and
their tone with these people.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a subset of people in our society who bring chirp, 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 no matter what you do, and they're never going to be happy, and they're always going to complain. And it's a very small percentage of our population, but they wear on your subconscious and your your psyche because of that. And so I always like to say, okay, look, you know what, control what you can control,
Mm-hmm.
and do your very, very best, and people are still going to come after you, but be strong enough to know that you have your team, you have your circle, you trust, and you can be for it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
So
shift.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna shift. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to go to downtown Salem, and I want to talk about our current situation down here. We were talking before the show. And you made a comment just about where we're at. I would love to just revisit that
Mm-hmm.
in terms of just downtown safety and cleanliness, kind of like your field here 25 years.
Yeah.
You have an opinion. We should.
No, well, thank you. Yeah, what I would say in the decades now that I've been a downtown business owner, I've seen all the changing tides and have experienced um, emerging vibrancy, vitality to having reached that peak to then hitting a recession and going backwards to having organized energy efforts from community business owners and city, that synergy of relationship that invests in downtown to bring us to peaks. And then also experiencing where I feel today is probably the most gutted of being deserted in that and not seeing that synergy of energy collectively. There for a myriad of reasons. I know that budget money always drives the bus when it comes to resources that are available, whether it's from the business owners themselves and what they're able to put out in the community as a whole in helping to, take care of our downtown, as well as then city budget and what we need from them. And I'd say that we definitely have a safety and clean issue where probably the dirtiest I have seen downtown being in my 20 plus years being down here. Um, we also have a safety issue as well, and I think that from sometimes I hear anecdotally some experiences that people have from a safety issue, and I don't think, though, that those severe experiences are true on a day to day basis. So I don't feel downtown is unsafe as what maybe gets reported, or like I said, you take a few instances and then that becomes the extreme, becomes the norm. And that's not true. I do feel safe generally walking around all the different businesses through downtown. It's more in the evening that I probably feel more of those issues that happen, as well as then again the cleanliness factor of just needing everybody to pitch in from downtown business owners instead of just complaining because we don't have the city resources that used to be available to us, and also not totally understanding why we don't have those resources when that parking tax is still paid. Now we've implemented paid parking, and the business owners are still having to pay that parking taxes for at least one more year, needing more transparency and understanding the system from the city, why we don't have as much of even like city representation interfacing with downtown businesses like there used to be. But that being said, of not just sitting on the sidelines and complaining about it, but needing to be more actively engaged and involved. And if that means that physically showing up on a Saturday morning, because that's what Stack that you guys have created. Yeah, of just getting out there and doing it instead of just waiting, right? Because it's all of our vested interest to do that, to create a safer and cleaner, vibrant downtown if we're all going to thrive. And so I want to thank you for the invite, for creating the action committee that you have, and inviting me to participate in that. So starting at Electric Alley tomorrow is the first one going down. And okay, yeah. So I'll be there.
Thank you. And I mean, we're welcoming anybody who wants to join us, be part of our initiative, and just like building community. We know control what we can control here, and we want to just create a group that is committed to helping downtown feel more safe and feel more clean. And, that you can't always rely on other resources. We can rely on each other. So we're creating Team Salem, right?
Yeah, no, I got to step in here. I like three things. Number one, I think we need Cecilia and a few other restaurant owners of a long period of time, to shorten the tooth of Sheena, right? That are used to reading these food reviews, to read the downtown safety and homeless reviews too, because I think that there's a lot of correlation between the noise that we just need to shut off and then the constructive criticism. But, outside of that, I think that just society in general, I think part of the alone that we feel is not actually real alone out there. It's a divisiveness. And it's put the business owner versus the put the right city versus it's the divisiveness, us versus them mentality that's like created. And part of it is through this social media culture. Part of it's just politics in general, but part of it's just the human element, right? And I think for us, Team Salem is not business owners solving problems. Not it's true community.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back to feed us, and at 5 p.m. until close, we'll clean it up. And I think that's what Stack is. Let's feed us, whatever that feed us means, and then community, let's show up 5 p.m. until close. Let's clean it every night. And how do we just put aside our right? How do we put aside our us versus them? And I want to. This is a struggle I'm dealing with, right? I saw the Salem Reporter reporting on a city council meeting, right? The mayor said this, we said that, but they called a group of people, and when I read the reviews, the group of people was noise, in my opinion, that was saying that by making homelessness illegal, they were calling them homeless advocates, and they were against someone making the homelessness, let's call it illegal. But the purpose behind this is just to allow the support, let's call it police, but then go down the food chain. If they're not supposed to be somewhere, then we're allowed to take them somewhere. And so if it's not illegal, we can't touch them. And so is it compassionate to leave someone there? Is it compassionate, whether it's the doorstep, the bridge, the overdose,
right?
Or is it compassionate to take care of them? And I would argue that I think the other perspective is the actual advocate, not on my streets, not in tents, like that's not good enough, Salem. Team Salem needs to do better for that community. I believe that's the advocacy.
Yes.
I don't believe compassion has anything to do with leaving them in place without the dignity, without the resources.
Absolutely.
With the drugs. How is that compassion?
Absolutely.
And so I may be getting too deep down that path, but I think there's something I can tell you, reinforcements are coming. There's 43 businesses, not in this building, actually, that building. And then this building has more than that because it's another 40% bigger. We're working on those ideas, and at night market, just energy, right? Just energy. And I think we're going to be reaching out to you, not on how to just pick up a broom. That's just a starting point. How do we take what was in the back of the kitchen that launched your business, that came from your family, that gave you the energy as an entrepreneur, and how do we infuse that into younger energy in Salem? And how do we not have it be the business owner said this, the employees said this, the community, what does that even mean, right? Like, how do we just create Team Salem? Let's roll our sleeves up. Let's make Austin jealous. That's a whole nother business plan we can't talk about today, but I don't want to, I want to figure out how do we,
okay. Love it.
And I was with Chris Blackburn yesterday. We chatted a little bit with urban development and Chris there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it's so inspiring when you talk about leveling up Salem, and it has to start here in our living room, right?
Yeah.
In the place where we're all coming together to be a part of each other's lives. It has to be clean, it has to be safe. And so I'm curious, from your perspective, how does that happen? How do we are we going through the right process here? Are we missing the mark somewhere in Europe? Being downtown as long as you have.
No, I'd say you guys are absolutely hitting the mark. And I think what you're doing is what us longtime downtown business people need because we're fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
And so we having to survive the ever changing tides um, that we've gone through coming out of COVID, that fatigue a lot of us, and having the bandwidth to then create an organization like Stack, to create this like podcast that brings awareness to what's going on in our community and how can we make change and make it better. We need that infusion of new energy and investment. It's your investment are your resources of time, talent, and funds, and you're willing to do that. And if I can get on that, train, I'm happy to hop on it and ride it with you guys. But I can't be the one that is, the chief of that, train and tries to get everybody on board. I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
to be totally honest, we're tired
Mm-hmm.
because we've weathered so much of it. So we need people like you guys, what you're doing. And we're grateful, so grateful. And you've got my support and my cooperation. Just don't have the bandwidth to be the creator of that, to initiate it. So this is all heading in the right direction. And I think also the attitude behind it of community first and not us versus them, not, government versus business entity, homeless versus business entity, and leaving out the compassion and the social activity, the social civicness out of this. We that is doesn't benefit a community when we have these divisive relationships and we take away the human element of it, and unfortunately business too often I think gets painted in that light or that lens that we're focused on just making money. And when really we go into opening businesses, taking a huge risk, buying into abandoned buildings in downtown, because we also want to see the place where we live and are raising families be a vibrant community. So we're
Mm-hmm.
willing to be the risk takers. And so out of that, like, why should we also not have the benefit of being able to be profitable, do something, give back to the
Mm-hmm.
community, create livelihoods for the people that come, to work for us. So I think that everything that we can do to show the community that as business owners, that we're not just in it for the dollar for ourselves, that we're not being greedy, that we truly are community builders and investors and want the best for all of us,
Mm-hmm.
is really, I think, the path forward. And you guys are just perfect examples of that. So thank you.
Don't call us perfect yet. We have our blemishes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a few. We got only AJ.
Yeah.
I love what you said, and I think our the direction we're trying to head, is one where we don't want to get burnt out. I think
Yeah.
we have a lot of good energy now, and I think, but it creates a team, right? Like creating a team, right? We're trying to put, I think, pieces in place to make it so that we do have good leadership, people who care, we're doing the right
Mhm.
things, saying the right things, and not creating all this us versus them mentality, because
Mhm.
that is absolutely not what we want. And I do feel like we can kind of transcend some of those issues of we're dealing with in our society with politics and social media and things. Just like you're there, who cares? Like we have a common goal right now, which is Salem place. And it starts right here. And so just
Yeah.
having you on, just like he was like us inspiration, right? And just seeing like what you've done with.
I'm going to go all the way back to the very beginning. I think Cecilia gave us the exact way to solve all of this.
Coconut curry, bitterness squash.
Well, no, further back. Her inspiration started at a party. There was good energy at a party. And that good energy at a party created the desire to throw more parties.
Yeah.
And community at some level,
Yes.
what is a party? A party is not about profit. A party is about celebration, gathering, memories, food,
Yeah.
hugging, staying up too late, headaches in the morning. There's a lot of things that come with a party, right? And I think that what we're trying to bring is a party. Let's bring a party to Salem. And that party to Salem does not have an objective to run anyone out or run anyone in, or it just has an objective to gather, to break bread, to accomplish, to share joy. So I think we need to find a way for Team Salem to be party. I think this night market, I think this venue that could be right here with live music, I think entertainment is a start of party and energy. But I think that the part of being tired is when there used to be a lot of parties in this town.
Yeah.
It was fun
Yeah.
because if you weren't having one, you could still join your friends.
Yes.
And I think what I heard is there's less people throwing parties, and you were happy
Yeah.
that there's someone else throwing a party upstairs. And so our goal is, how do we attract 5 or 6 or 10 or 30 more party throwers
Yeah.
to just bring good vibes, bring good energy? And that's maybe a question we can go offline or online, of the people that in your 2.5 decades are still here, right?
Mhm,
Or maybe are
mhm,
not here, but
mhm.
they left well and they still love Salem. If we're going to figure out how to create it, we need to talk to the previous creators. We need to give those that are still out there doing it some love, but some ears, right? We need to
Yeah.
re-energize you, because even though you say you're tired, uh, there's not a wild in front of that pair for no reason. We know that we can get that. We know that you and Mike can still come out
Yeah.
and be a part of the party. And so, who else has been innovative and supportive in inspiration to you over time that we might have a conversation with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dino Venti, has been around the block even longer than I have in downtown Salem, and knows the culture down here, really well, and has been a risk taker down here as well. I'd say Deanna Rimalo from Amadeus as
Mm-hmm.
well. She's been here a long time and has seen all the changing tides and has survived them, herself. And just brings also different perspective from her experience. But then, we've got people that invested, came in, did things for the city, and then maybe they have moved, on that aren't even in our industry, but are just were community builders. People like uh, Garth Brandaw, who still owns CB2 Architects, um, but he, I think, lives in Portland himself. But that being said, I mean, there's so many. I could, if I'll get you a
Mm-hmm.
list, and help reach out to them, and let's gather more of these resources together and put our collective minds together, because I do believe that more of us have many hands make light work, while many brains together, I think collectively, also are going to make the work a lot easier for us. So yeah, I'll reach out, get my people
This
that,
is like a
yeah,
Timbers reunion, right? We need we need that group of people that has pedigree,
yep.
right? And has
The
proven
proven, yep.
track
They've got
record.
it.
And then
They've
we
got
need
the
the
track
energy.
record.
We need the up
Yeah,
and comers, and we need the proven to give some of that skill set and that mentorship,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then you need the workhorses, right? And I feel like we're square in the middle of that, but that's, it's fun to be a workhorse out here that is
yeah,
just willing to lead the charge, willing to be a captain of some portion, right, of
yeah,
that line. But
yeah,
Yeah, there's piano players, there's piano movers. Consider ourselves like
yeah,
piano movers, right?
yeah.
And we want to, defer to the piano players as much as we can. We're all really, really very much.
yeah. We are, and I think that's critical and key is that instead of just throwing out a lot of suggestions, complaints on what needs to be done, actually rolling up your sleeves and becoming a part of the solution, your willingness to do that. And, that's where we're going to see real change. And as a community to move forward, everybody's got to be willing to do that. We all have a vested interest in this. We all have skin in the game living here. So, instead of like, yeah, being that armchair quarterback, let's get in the game. So, coach has put us in. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, got another team player. Let's go. Perfect.
One at a time.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I mean, this is a heavy lift. We can't do it alone. So, Cecilia, we're so grateful you joined us for this
Oh,
episode, and it was such a pleasure
mhm.
to chat with you about your experiences and how Wild Pear can be, and where you're at with North Downtown and South Downtown. I just really appreciate the time. It's been fascinating.
No, thanks for having me, guys. I've enjoyed it.